Hi, everyone, and welcome back to English is Very Easy, the channel where learning English becomes very simple and fun. I'm Jack.
And I'm Emma. Hey there, wonderful learners. We're so happy you're here with us today. Jack, how are you feeling?
You know what, Emma? I'm feeling good, but I've been thinking about something lately. Something I think a lot of our listeners might be thinking about too.
Oh, what's that?
Well, it's already late February 2026. We're past New Year's resolutions. Real life has started, and I've been asking myself an honest question. Am I actually moving forward this year, or am I just doing the same things and hoping something magically changes?
Wow, Jack, that's a really honest question. And you know what? I think many people listening right now are asking themselves the same thing.
Exactly. That's why today we want to talk about something very real. We're going to talk about feeling stuck in life and how to actually start moving forward again.
And we're going to do it in English, of course. So you're not just learning a language today, you're learning how to talk about your dreams, your goals, and your feelings in English.
Right, and we promise this won't be one of those just be positive conversations that make you feel worse.
No, we're going to be honest. Real life is hard sometimes. Change is hard. But it's also possible, and we're going to talk about how.
So whether you're listening while cooking, walking, commuting, or just lying in bed thinking about your life, you're in the right place.
Yes. And before we dive deep into today's topic, we just want to say thank you for being here. Your time is valuable, and we're grateful you're spending it with us.
Now, Emma, let me ask you something personal. Have you ever felt stuck in your life?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, many times actually.
Really? Can you tell us about one time?
Sure. I remember a few years ago, I was working in a job that was fine. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't what I really wanted to do. And every morning I would wake up and think, is this it? Is this my life now?
That feeling of, is this it? I think so many people know that feeling.
Yes. And the strange thing was, nothing was really wrong. I had a job, I had money, I had a place to live, but inside I felt empty, like I was just going through the motions every day.
Going through the motions. That's a great phrase. It means you're doing things, but without any real feeling or purpose. You're just repeating the same actions every day like a robot.
Exactly. I was alive, but I wasn't really living. Does that make sense?
Perfect sense. And I think that's what being stuck feels like. You're not falling apart, you're not in a crisis, but you're also not growing. You're just frozen.
Yes, frozen. That's the word. You know you should do something, but you don't. You have ideas, but you don't act on them. Time keeps passing and you keep staying in the same place.
So, Emma, what changed for you? How did you stop feeling stuck?
Well, first, I had to admit something difficult. I had to admit that I was scared.
Scared of what?
Scared of failing, scared of making the wrong choice, scared that if I tried something new and it didn't work, I would feel even worse than I already did.
That's really honest. And I think fear is one of the biggest reasons people stay stuck. Not because they don't have dreams or ideas, but because they're afraid.
Exactly. And you know what? That fear is actually normal. It makes sense to be afraid when you're thinking about change.
Right. Change means uncertainty, and our brains don't like uncertainty. Our brains like safety and routine, even if that routine makes us unhappy.
So true. But here's what I learned. Staying stuck because you're scared is also a choice. You might think you're avoiding a decision by not doing anything, but actually, not choosing is still a choice.
Wow, that's powerful. Not choosing is still a choice. Can you say more about that?
Sure, when you stay in a situation you don't like because you're afraid to leave, you're choosing fear over possibility. You're choosing comfort over growth.
And maybe that's okay sometimes. There's nothing wrong with choosing safety, but I think the problem comes when you choose safety and then feel angry with yourself for not being happy.
Yes, that's exactly it. You can't choose to stay the same and also expect to feel different.
So, for our listeners who might be feeling stuck right now, maybe in their job, or their English learning, or their relationships, or just in life in general, what would you say to them?
I would say, first of all, you're not alone. This feeling is so common. And second, being stuck is not permanent. You can move again.
I love that. Being stuck is not permanent. You can move again. And I think that's what today's conversation is really about: how to start moving again when you feel frozen.
Exactly. So let's talk about some real practical things that can help. Not big dramatic changes that sound impossible, but small, real steps that actually work.
Great. Let's start with something that might sound strange. Sometimes to move forward, you first need to stop pretending everything is fine.
Oh, that's interesting. What do you mean?
Well, I think a lot of people, when they feel stuck, they pretend to themselves that everything is okay. They say, my life is fine. I'm fine. Everything is fine.
Right. And meanwhile, inside, they're screaming.
Exactly. So the first step is actually to be honest with yourself, to say, you know what? I'm not fine. I'm stuck. I'm unhappy, and I want things to be different.
That sounds simple, but it's actually really hard for many people to admit.
It is, because admitting you're stuck feels like admitting you failed somehow. But actually, it's the opposite. Admitting you're stuck is the first step to getting unstuck.
I agree completely. When I finally told myself, Emma, you're unhappy and you need to do something about it, that's when things started to change.
So if you're listening right now and you feel stuck, try saying it out loud. Just say, I feel stuck. Even if no one else hears you, say it to yourself.
Yes, because once you name the feeling, it becomes something you can work with. It's not just this vague, uncomfortable feeling anymore. It's a specific problem that you can start to solve.
Perfect. Okay, so step 1 is being honest about feeling stuck. What's step 2?
Step 2 is figuring out exactly where you're stuck, because stuck is a big word. It can mean many different things.
Right. Are you stuck in your career, in your learning, in your relationships, in your daily routine?
Exactly. And sometimes you're stuck in all of those areas. But I think it helps to be specific, because when you know exactly where you're stuck, you can start to see possible ways out.
That makes sense. So how can someone figure out where they're stuck?
I think you can ask yourself some simple questions. For example, when I wake up in the morning, what's the first thing I feel? If the answer is dread or heaviness, that's a clue.
Dread. That's a strong word. It means a feeling of fear or worry about something that's going to happen, like, oh no, I have to face another day like this.
Yes, and if you feel dread when you think about your job or your daily routine or even your free time, that tells you something important.
What about for English learners specifically? How can they tell if they're stuck in their English learning?
Great question. I think you're stuck in your English learning if you're doing the same things over and over but not seeing any improvement. Or if you want to speak but you never actually practice speaking, or if you have ideas about how to improve but you never act on them.
So, stuck in English learning looks like knowing what you should do but not doing it.
Exactly. It's the gap between knowing and doing.
And I think that gap is where a lot of people live. They know they should practice speaking more. They know they should stop translating in their heads. They know they should be brave and make mistakes, but they don't do it.
Right. And that gap is often filled with fear. Fear of embarrassment, fear of mistakes, fear of judgment.
So how do we cross that gap? How do we move from knowing what to do to actually doing it?
I think we need to talk about something that might sound obvious, but is actually really important: small actions.
Small actions. Tell me more.
Well, when people feel stuck, they often think they need to make some huge, dramatic change to fix everything. Like, I'm going to quit my job and move to another country and start a completely new life.
Right, the big dramatic movie moment.
Exactly. And maybe sometimes that is what you need. But for most people, most of the time, what you actually need is much smaller and more boring.
More boring.
Yes, like instead of I'm going to become fluent in English this year, maybe it's I'm going to speak English out loud for 5 minutes every day.
Ah, I see. So you're saying big dreams are good, but small actions are what actually create change.
Yes, because big dreams without small actions are just fantasies. They make you feel good for a moment, but they don't change your life.
That's really true. I love big dreams. I think everyone should have big dreams. But dreams alone don't move you. Actions do.
Right. And when you feel stuck, the problem is not that you don't have dreams. Usually, stuck people have lots of dreams. The problem is they're not taking actions.
So, what kind of small actions are we talking about? Can you give some examples?
Sure. For someone stuck in their English learning, a small action might be send one voice message in English to a friend, or write 3 sentences about your day in English, or watch one video without subtitles.
Those sound very small.
They are, and that's the point. They're so small that you can't use the excuse, I don't have time, or I'm too tired.
I like that. So, you make the action so small that you can't talk yourself out of it.
Exactly. And here's what's interesting. When you do one small action, it often leads to another small action, and then another. And slowly, you start moving again.
So, it's like momentum. You need to start moving, even if it's very slow at first. And once you're moving, it gets easier to keep moving.
Yes, momentum. That's a great word. Momentum means the force that keeps something moving once it starts moving, like when you push a big, heavy ball. At first, it's really hard to move it, but once it starts rolling, it keeps going more easily.
I love that image. So, if you feel stuck, you need to create momentum. Even very small momentum is better than no momentum at all.
Exactly. And you know what else helps? Talking about your dreams and goals in English.
Oh, that's interesting. Why does talking about them help?
Well, for a few reasons. First, when you talk about something out loud, it becomes more real. It's not just a vague idea in your head anymore. It's something you've said to another person or even to yourself.
Right. Saying it out loud is like making a small commitment.
Yes. And second, talking about your dreams in English is actually a great way to practice English. You learn vocabulary about goals, change, feelings, and the future.
That's true, and those are really useful topics to be able to discuss in English.
Exactly. So let's practice that right now. Jack, can you tell me about one thing you want to change in your life this year?
Sure, I want to stop being so busy all the time. I feel like I'm always working, always doing something, but I never have time to just rest or think or enjoy my life.
That's a very common feeling. So what would you like instead?
I would like to have more free time, time where I'm not rushing, time to read, to walk, to sit and do nothing without feeling guilty.
And what's one small action you could take toward that goal?
I think I could stop checking my phone for 1 hour every evening. Just turn it off and do something else.
That's a great small action. Very specific, very doable.
It is doable, and honestly, even talking about it right now makes me want to actually do it.
See? That's the power of talking about your goals. It makes them feel more possible.
Okay, now it's your turn, Emma. Tell me something you want to change.
All right. I want to stop being so afraid of making mistakes when I try new things.
That's a big one. Can you give me an example?
Sure. Sometimes I have an idea for a new project or a new way to do something, but then I think, what if it doesn't work? What if people don't like it? What if I look stupid? And because I'm afraid, I don't try.
So fear stops you before you even start.
Exactly. And then later, I feel frustrated with myself for not trying.
So what's a small action you could take?
I think I could try one new small thing every week, just one. And I could tell myself before I do it, it's okay if this doesn't work. I'm just experimenting.
I love that. I'm just experimenting. That takes so much pressure off.
Right? Because experiments can fail. That's the whole point of an experiment. You try something to see what happens, not because you already know it will succeed.
That's beautiful. So instead of thinking, I need to be perfect, you can think, I'm just experimenting.
Yes, and that small change in how you think about it can make such a big difference in whether you actually do it or not.
So for our listeners, maybe you can think about this too. What's one thing you want to change? And what's one small action you could take this week?
Yes, and if you want, you can write it in the comments. We would love to hear from you. What's your small action for this week?
And don't worry about your English being perfect in the comment. The point is just to practice sharing your thoughts and dreams in English.
Exactly. Remember, we're all learning together.
Now, I want to talk about something else that I think keeps people stuck, and that's comparing yourself to other people.
Oh, yes, comparison. This is such a big problem, especially now with social media.
Exactly. You look at other people's lives on Instagram or TikTok or wherever, and everyone looks like they're doing amazing things. They're traveling, they're successful, they're happy, they're confident, they speak perfect English.
And then you look at your own life and think, why am I not like that? What's wrong with me?
Yes, and that comparison makes you feel even more stuck because you feel like you're so far behind everyone else.
But here's the thing, and I really want everyone listening to hear this. You are not seeing the full picture of other people's lives. You're seeing the highlights, the best moments, the finished products.
Right, you're not seeing the struggles, the failures, the boring days, the moments of doubt.
Exactly. You're comparing your behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reel.
And that's not fair to yourself. Of course you feel stuck when you're comparing yourself to an impossible standard.
So what should we do instead of comparing?
I think instead of looking at other people and feeling bad, we should look at our own progress. Compare yourself now to yourself a year ago or 2 years ago.
Oh, I love that. Compare yourself to your past self, not to other people.
Exactly. Because that comparison actually means something. You can actually see your real growth.
And you know what else helps? For English learners, this is especially powerful. If you think about your English now compared to your English 1 year ago, I bet you can see real improvement.
Even if you feel like your English isn't good enough yet, you're probably much better than you were before.
Yes, maybe last year you couldn't understand this podcast at all, but now you're understanding most of it. That's huge progress.
Exactly. Or maybe last year you were too scared to write a comment in English, but now you're thinking about it. Even thinking about it is progress.
So the message here is stop comparing yourself to strangers on the internet. Start noticing your own growth.
And if you can't see any growth, that might be a sign that you need to change what you're doing, because if you're doing the same thing every day, you'll stay in the same place.
Right. Small changes in your actions create changes in your life. No change in actions means no change in life.
That's a great way to put it. So let me ask you, Emma, what do you do when you feel stuck, but you don't know what action to take?
That's a great question, because sometimes the problem is not that you're not taking action. The problem is you don't know which action to take.
Exactly. Like you know you want things to be different, but you don't know what to do first.
Yes, and I think when you feel like that, the best thing to do is just pick something, anything, and try it.
Just pick something?
Yes, because here's the truth. When you feel stuck, you're not moving. And when you're not moving, you can't steer. You can't change direction. But once you start moving, even in the wrong direction, you can adjust.
Oh, that's interesting. So it's better to move in the wrong direction than to not move at all.
Not exactly better, but at least if you're moving, you're learning. You're discovering what works and what doesn't work for you.
So it's like you can't figure out the right path by just standing still and thinking about it. You have to start walking, and then you'll discover the path as you go.
Exactly. And I think this is where a lot of people get stuck. They're waiting for complete clarity before they start. They want to know exactly how everything will turn out before they take the first step.
But life doesn't work like that.
No, it doesn't. You can't see the whole path from the beginning. You can only see the next step. And then when you take that step, the next one becomes visible.
That sounds scary, though, not knowing where you're going.
It is scary. But you know what's also scary? Looking back in 5 years and realizing you wasted 5 years waiting for certainty that never came.
Wow, that's a powerful thought. Wasting years of your life waiting to feel ready.
And the truth is, you might never feel completely ready. That perfect feeling of confidence and certainty might never come, so you have to start anyway.
Even if you're scared?
Especially if you're scared, because the things that scare you are usually the things that will help you grow the most.
So feeling scared is actually a good sign.
It can be. It means you're about to do something new, something that matters to you, something that could change your life.
I never thought about fear that way before.
Most people see fear as a stop sign, but sometimes it's more like a sign that says, important things happen here.
I really like that. Fear isn't telling you to stop, it's telling you to pay attention because something meaningful is happening.
Exactly. So if you're scared to speak English out loud, that fear is actually showing you something important. It's showing you that speaking English matters to you. It's not meaningless, it's significant.
So instead of letting fear stop you, you can use fear as information.
Yes. Fear tells you what's important. It tells you where you have the opportunity to grow.
This is such a different way of thinking about fear, and I think it's really helpful for people who feel stuck.
Me too, because often the reason we're stuck is because we're afraid, and we think fear means don't do it, but actually, fear might mean this is exactly what you should do.
Okay, so we've talked about small actions, about not comparing yourself to others, about starting even when you're scared. What else do you think helps people get unstuck?
I think having someone to share your journey with helps a lot.
You mean like an accountability partner or a friend?
Yes, exactly. When you're trying to change, it's really hard to do it completely alone. You need someone who knows what you're trying to do and who can encourage you when things get hard.
That makes sense, because when you feel like quitting, that person can remind you why you started.
Right. And also, when you tell someone else about your goal, it makes it more real. It's not just a secret dream in your head anymore. It's something you've shared with another human being.
So for English learners, that might mean finding a study partner or joining an English conversation group.
Exactly. Or even just finding one friend who is also learning English and checking in with each other every week. How was your English practice this week? What did you do?
And that doesn't have to be complicated. It can be as simple as sending a voice message to each other once a week in English.
Yes. And you know what's beautiful about that? When you help someone else with their English journey, you're also helping yourself, because teaching and encouraging others makes you more committed to your own goals.
That's so true. When you give advice to someone else, you often end up following that advice yourself.
Exactly. So if you're feeling stuck, one of the best things you can do is help someone else who is also stuck. It sounds backward, but it really works.
I love that. So the message is, don't try to do this alone. Find at least one person to share your journey with.
Yes, and if you don't have someone in your real life, you can find people online. There are English learning communities everywhere, including right here in the comments of this podcast.
That's true. The community in the comments is amazing. People share their struggles, their progress, their tips, and everyone encourages each other.
So if you're listening and you feel alone in your English journey, remember, you have thousands of people all over the world who are on the same journey as you.
And we're all learning together. We're all making mistakes together. We're all getting unstuck together.
I love that. Getting unstuck together. That should be our motto.
Now, before we finish today's conversation, I want to talk about one more important thing, and that's the idea of being patient with yourself.
Oh yes, patience. This is so important.
Because I think sometimes people expect change to happen really fast. They take one small action and then get frustrated when their whole life doesn't transform immediately.
Right, they want instant results.
But real change doesn't work like that. Real change is slow, it's gradual. It's built one small action at a time over weeks and months.
And I think that's actually good news.
How is that good news?
Because it means you don't have to be perfect right now. You don't have to have your whole life figured out today. You just have to take one small step, and then tomorrow, another small step. And slowly over time, your life changes.
So it's not about being perfect, it's about being consistent.
Exactly. Consistency is more powerful than perfection. Small actions done regularly will change your life more than big actions done once.
So, if someone is listening right now and they feel frustrated because they've been trying to change, but they don't see results yet, what would you say to them?
I would say keep going. Don't give up. Change is happening even if you can't see it yet. Just like when you plant a seed, you don't see anything growing above the ground for a while, but underground roots are forming, and one day a plant appears.
That's a beautiful image. So, sometimes progress is invisible for a while, but it's still happening.
Yes, so trust the process. Trust that your small actions matter. Trust that you're moving forward even when it doesn't feel like it.
And be kind to yourself along the way.
Yes, be kind to yourself. This is so important. You're doing something difficult. You're trying to change. You're trying to learn English. You're trying to grow. That takes courage.
So, on the days when you don't do everything perfectly, don't be mean to yourself. Just notice what happened and try again tomorrow.
Exactly. Every day is a new chance to take one more small step.
I think that's a great place to end our conversation today. Every day is a new chance.
Yes, so if you felt stuck yesterday, you don't have to feel stuck today. You can choose to take one small action today, right now.
And if you're not sure what action to take, just pick something, anything. Send a voice message in English, write 3 sentences in a notebook, watch a video without subtitles. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be something.
And remember, you're not alone. All of us, Jack and I included, have felt stuck at some point, but we're all here together, learning and growing and getting unstuck.
So, thank you for being here with us today. Thank you for trusting us with your time and your English learning journey.
Yes, thank you. And we would love to hear from you. Tell us in the comments what's one small action you're going to take this week. It can be related to English learning or to any area of your life where you feel stuck.
And don't worry about making mistakes in your comment. We're all here to learn and support each other, not to judge.
Exactly. So be brave. Take that small action of writing a comment. It's great practice for your English, and it helps us build this beautiful community of learners.
Well, Emma, I think it's time to wrap up today's episode.
Yes, so everyone listening, remember, you're not stuck forever. You can move again, starting today, starting right now.
Take one small action. Be patient with yourself and keep going.
We believe in you.
We really do.
All right, everyone, thank you so much for listening to English is Very Easy. We'll be here next week with another conversation to help you learn and grow.
Until then, keep learning, keep practicing, and keep moving forward.
Even if it's just one small step at a time.
See you next time.
Bye, everyone.
Goodbye.